Hey guys, very good morning. So thank you everyone for joining in this session. So in this masterclass, guys, we are going to cover the ultimate roadmap to become a full stack developer in 2023. So it's pretty latest, and we are going to have a lot of fun in this session. So we're going to talk about how do you carve out that roadmap. We'll also have quiz along the way, and towards the end, we'll talk a bit about the AlmaBetter curriculum, and then we'll take the question and answers that you guys are posting in Q&A. All right. So thanks everyone for joining in this session. So if you're watching it from Zoom or YouTube or LinkedIn or from anywhere, so I just want to express my appreciation for you to take your time out and join this session. So let's begin this session, guys. So we have Abhinav Sanyal from AlmaBetter. So he is our technical lead. Also, he has more than 7 years of experience in full stack web development. And previously, he was a core developer at Trigger.com. And he was the one guy who developed it from the very scratch, right? So, and that app is really popular. It has gotten millions of downloads. So let's learn from Abhinav today, and hope you guys will get a lot of our get a lot of important things out of this session. All right. So Abhinav, over to you. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Thanks, Vikas. Good morning, guys. Thank you for being with us so early in a Saturday morning like this. Welcome to the roadmap to become a full stack developer masterclass, right? So I would like to know that how many of you have an idea about what full stack development is? You guys can just put your answer on the chat. Do you know where how web development and full stack engineering is, and what are your some of the motivations? Gautam is writing front end and back end. So guys, you can write your answers on a Padlet. I'll share you a link on that. Vikas, can we have the Padlet link on the chat?
Sure. Yeah, just I'm on it. So yeah, just give me a second, guys.
So guys, Vikas has shared a Padlet link. You guys can just open that link and maybe write down your answer about what you understand by full stack development. I can see a lot of answers.
Abhinav, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So guys, I think you can start posting your answers on the Padlet here. So based on the question, and let's try to make this interactive, and please try to participate, as this is going to help you only. So yeah, cool.
Okay.
So I have shared it already, guys. So I think, so probably, yeah, just go ahead and write your answer here. So, all right, I think, okay.
Making web apps and websites. Okay.
All right. Okay, so we have one answer, I think, yeah.
Right, front end and back end. So, I mean, almost all of you are saying front end and back end and database, right? You guys are right, but then full stack development also includes the entire software development life cycle, right? From starting from building the UI and then building the back end and the entire product, including the deployment and DevOps. So a person who can work on the front end and back end part, process of designing, creating, testing, deploying a complete web application from start to finish. Yeah, guys, I mean, you're right. And of course, that's what defines a full stack developer in some sense. There is no hard and fast definition of who a full stack developer or engineer is, but it is usually expected that a full stack engineer performs a role of three different people, including the front-end engineer, the back-end engineer, as well as the DevOps engineer, right? Okay. I mean, I think you guys have more or less an idea of what a full stack engineer does. So we'll come into detail after we, like go through some of the modules of what a full stack engineer does. But let's start with something even simpler, right? So Vikas, can we have the slides? I'll just share my screen if that's okay. It's just 2 seconds. Because I think there is some. Can you share your screen, Sir? Let's go through the slides.
Yeah, sure, sure. Is it visible now?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's learn a little bit about how does the internet work, right? And okay, so what happens when let's say you are chatting with someone on WhatsApp, and like, can you tell me like how does your chat work actually? So how many of you know that the chat that you write that travels across the world goes to a server maybe in US and then comes back to you, and then you are able to see the chat. So how it actually works is, so whatever data you see maybe on a website, let's say Facebook or Instagram, right? So whatever you're seeing on the screen, the posts, the likes, everything, all of that gets broken down into small bite-sized chunks, and they travel through the wires, through routers and different other computers, right? All across the world distributed, and they go to the server of Instagram or Facebook, let's say sitting in San Francisco or maybe in UK, London, right? And then from there, a response comes, and in the same way, that response also, they are in bits and chunks, and they also come travel through the same connected network of computers, and they all get assembled in your screen. All of this is happening in less than a millisecond. This is really magic if you think about it, right? So whenever you are using any website for that matter, right, even google.com, anything that you see on the browser, even this Zoom call that we are having, right? So what's happening is the same process that I showed you, which you can see in the diagram in a little bit more simplified way. So the data is basically broken down into bits and pieces, and this data is traveling through the world, like across your internet service provider first, and then it's going to the server of Zoom, right? And there are many servers of Zoom that are sitting across the world, right? What are servers, you ask? So think of it like computers. It's no different than a normal computer or a PC, right? It goes through that, and then it reaches you to your devices. And all of this is happening over like a fraction of a second. That's the beauty of like a simplified way to understand how the internet works. Okay, everyone with me till here? Just maybe raise your hands. Yeah, cool. Okay, nice. So let's go a little bit more deeper. Because can we move to the next slide? Right. Correct. So there is something called the client and the server model, right? So let's understand exactly how this network of computers, operate, and how exactly are we able to see what we are seeing on the screen. So let's take an example of maybe a library, right? So what happens in a library? You go to the library and then you request for a specific book. Okay. and the librarian, checks whether he has the book or not. If he finds out he has the book, then he gives it to you, right? So it's like a request and a response kind of a system. Same thing, we can draw an analogy to ordering something on a restaurant, right? So when you go to a restaurant, what do? So you look at the menu, you order something, you call the waiter, or the waiter comes to you, and then you request the waiter to for the food, and then the waiter goes to the kitchen, and then he puts the order on the kitchen, and then the chefs create the order and it serves to you. In a very similar way, when you open your browser, or when you open your laptop and just open Google Chrome, and you search for, let's say, facebook.com, what is happening essentially is you are requesting the homepage of facebook.com, just like in the restaurant you are requesting the food, right? And then Chrome, your browser, sends that request over the network that we just talked about, right? All the way to the Facebook server. Now, the Facebook servers might be sitting completely on the opposite end of the world, right? So it might be sitting in US. And what's happening is your request is going all the way to US to the Facebook data center. And from there, they're serving you that homepage that you requested for. And this is happening for millions of users at the exact same amount of time. Imagine it to be a huge restaurant where people are requesting certain pages and it's being served from the server. So there is a client and then there is a server, right? These are the two important things that we can identify in the system. Also, there is a third piece to the puzzle, and that's the waiter itself, or in this case, our network, right? The internet. Are you guys like following up till this point? Just say yes in the chat if it's making sense to you. Okay, cool. I mean, I know, guys, these are all very basic things. Some of you might be already familiar with how this works, but still just trying to clear the grounding for you, right? So that we can delve more into how we can use this system, because this system is exactly the foundation where a developer or an engineer works and creates applications or these websites, right? So okay. So now we have a sort of a clear understanding, a brief understanding of how a client and a server works, right? Now, okay, because let's move on to the next slide. Yeah, correct. So the window to use this system, so there has to be an access point, right, somewhere through which we can use this system, and that access point we all know is our browsers. So Google Chrome, or like Firefox, right? Microsoft Edge or Internet Explorer as well. So how exactly is it working? So try to imagine what we naturally do, and we do it pretty much like like an automated behavior, right? It's a compulsive behavior that we go and just search something on Google, or maybe if we know the specific name of that website, we search for, we put that in the address bar, and then we are served with a page. And then we start working on that page. So for Instagram, let's say we are liking posts, we are viewing other people's content. In YouTube, you are streaming videos and whatnot, right? So there are so many different kind of applications. But have you ever thought about it? Like, what is the core behind this technology? How are you able to access these things? And the answer is the browser, right? So the browser is a piece of software which is allowing you and me to view and interact with these, like web applications, correct? So, and the browser, for that matter of fact, understands only three things, right? And that is the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, you might ask, like, what is this? So, these are the three things, primary things, with which the browser can render or paint the web page that we are seeing, and also allow us to interact with it at the same time, right? So like we just discussed earlier. So what the browser is doing is just acting as the plate or the, like where we are getting served the food. If you take the analogy of the restaurant, right? And the browser also is acting as a port which is sending the requests to the server. These requests are usually text, plain text, right, which is going over the wire to the servers, and the servers are responding back, usually in the more traditional way with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, a page where these three things are there. For now, let's just assume that these are, three ingredients that the browser needs, for us to see and look at the content that we are seeing on the screen. So yeah, so the server sends back the requested web page in the form of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files. That is how it used to be, traditionally, initially, like if you remember the old Gmail, right? So the Gmail got an upgrade in, I guess, 2007 or something. And so this is the old way of doing things. We used to have static sites, if you guys remember. So there were sites where you can go and just read the content. There's nothing much you can do about it, but you can go and read blogs, maybe more simpler websites, right? And then came applications, web applications like Facebook or LinkedIn or Gmail for that fact, right? Which allowed more interactivity. In those cases, sometimes what's happening is instead of sending these three files, right? So HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are three files. You can imagine they are three different kind of files which the browser needs, like we talked about. So now nowadays, what's happening is that there has been an advancement in the technology, and HTML and CSS are the constant and common part of the website, and things gets dynamically updated using just JavaScript, right? So using JavaScript, we can dynamically update a page instead of requesting for a completely new page. So we have a layout sort of a thing that we request on the first load of your website, and then we use JavaScript to keep updating that page. This is called single page applications. We'll dive more deeper into it. This is pretty much, like the state of the art technology that we use for building front ends these days. So when I say again, so like, yeah. Yeah, so to give you an example, I guess, because can you just, just let's go to let's go to google.com, wherever. And then, yeah, if you inspect it, just right click, just click on inspect. What you see here is basically HTML, right? And this is something called the DOM. Okay, so what is dynamic and static pages? Correct. So static pages, like I said, is something that that lacks the interactivity part of it. It's like maybe a blog, right? You can read those pages. Also, for whenever you need a different content, you will have to request for that content separately, and you will be served that content. Like I said, the old way of doing things were serving you HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's all. Just keep that in mind. Like you are getting served three files, HTML or just one file which includes those three components, right? And like Vikas is showing you right here, this is the HTML. You can see this is actually the DOM. This is not exactly HTML. Because can you right click on the website again and just click on view page source? Yeah. Right. So this ugly thing that you're seeing on your screen right now, this is basically HTML, right? So what is HTML? We'll go a little bit deeper into that. And let me finish answering that question. So dynamic and static pages, right? As we go along, we'll obviously go much deeper into this aspect of it. Because as a full stack engineer, this is something you should know very, very well. And this is a very basic thing, right? We'll go a bit deeper, but for now, let's understand a little bit about what HTML is and what CSS is and what JavaScript is, correct? So I'll show you a nice website, but before that, let me give you a slight analogy of how to think about it. So think of it as HTML is, let's say, imagine it like to be the skeleton, right? You have seen the skeletons, right, of human body, right? That like just bones. It's just the structure, okay? Just the structure. HTML is the structure. What do I mean by this? So when you're writing HTML or when you have an HTML page, that page is defining the browser about what is supposed to be shown, text wise or image wise or whatever you're seeing on the screen, the structure of it, right? HTML is car body, car chassis. Yeah, you can think of it like that also. It's the skeleton, right? It's the blueprint, correct? Now CSS is the style aspect of the aesthetics of it, how it is going to look, the colors, the animation, the paint. Yeah, of course. You can take the car example like Lohit is saying, right? Like Yasir is saying, and yeah, it works as well. JS and JavaScript is the behavior, right? So let's take one example. So if you want to go with the car analogy, then of course, so the body is or the chases is the HTML, CSS is the paint, and JavaScript is how the car is functioning, right? Functionality of it. Or if you take the example of human body, again, skeleton is the HTML, then flesh, bones, clothes, these things are the CSS, the aesthetic part of it, and the nature, the character, the behavior, the brain is like JS. Yeah. So I'll show you a very cool website actually. Because can you just go to Chrome and search for CSS Zen Garden? CSS Garden, yeah, that will be the first one. So I don't know how many of you have seen this really cool website. I'll just show you quickly because just right click and let's look at the page source. The same thing that we did, view page source. All right. So you see, this is the HTML for that website that we just saw. And guys, you guys can also check it out. So this just defines what the content will be on that page. And because if you go to that page, so this CSS Zen Garden is an application where on the right side you can see these are authors and they have different CSS on the same HTML. So click on any one of it because and open it on a new tab maybe, or yeah, same tab also works. You see, so can you notice this? Do you believe that this was the exact same website actually? The HTML of both these websites are exactly the same. And look at it, just look how beautiful it, how different it looks just by changing the CSS part of it. And if we view the page source of any two websites, you will see the exact same HTML, right? So that's the beauty of CSS. That's the power, how different you can make it look just by adding CSS, right? Of course, CSS itself is a huge subject, but the point of showing you this is just to, have you experientially understand that just changing the style of the same HTML structure, we can produce such different and unique results through it. All right. So I hope, I guess you guys can, of course, play around with CSS Zen Garden. They're really cool, like implementations of the same thing out there. And yeah, so that's pretty much about like how, CSS and HTML is. Now, JavaScript is the part that we're interested in majorly as full stack engineers, right? So JavaScript, right? What is JavaScript? So JavaScript is like we said, it's like the brain, like the behavior aspect of it. So now comes the question, static and dynamic websites. So dynamic websites are websites where JavaScript is used to change the content on the fly without requesting for a new page and give us a different and unique experience. So all websites that most of the websites that we are, we love using, we use it every single day, like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or, like the list goes on. And these websites are all single page applications. So like what are single page applications or SPAs, right? This is where the dynamic aspect of it of development has arrived. So the entire Web2 space, Web2 means, like imagine Web2 is basically everything from Google, Facebook and Twitter, where you log in, you have an account, and then you manage your data, right? Your data is persisting, and you are able to, like create things on that website, as well as read things on that website and update already existing items. So I know this might sound a bit, steep right now, but we'll go into more, depth as we move along. For now, just bear with me and just have this idea that JavaScript is a language, is a programming language, and it allows us to add behavior to our websites, right? So JavaScript, our best friend. Why do I call it our best friend? Because so JavaScript is really cool, right? It's nothing like any other language out there. JavaScript is probably the only language right now that we have that gives you the power, the superpower of learning one language and to be able to build and develop for so many devices, right? All devices, all platforms, be it desktop, be it mobile, web application, of course, right? So you can target all devices. You can work with it on the front end. You can work with it on the back end. That is the real power of learning JavaScript. Correct? So this guy, right? How many of you have know who this guy is? Anybody? Just you can like the photo that I have on this slide. You do? Okay. Okay, Darshan, who is he? Can you tell us? Any idea, guys? So this so anybody here has heard about this website called Stack Overflow? Have you heard of Stack Overflow, guys? Yep. I'm pretty sure a lot of you might have heard of Stack Overflow, right? Yeah. So this guy he's the founder of Stack Overflow, right? Creator of Stack Overflow, correct. So this guy's name is Atwood, and this is one famous code that he had written there. This is a bit of a joke, but again, like right now we can't say, because literally JavaScript has gone to space with Tesla's launch, the Mars rover, right? The UI and those things were built with JavaScript. Literally, JavaScript right now is in space. If you look at that, so he writes any application that can be written in JavaScript will eventually be written in JavaScript. So that's the beauty and the power of this language. And once you understand the fundamentals and the basics of how it works, it will open a completely new world to you, right? And it's really exciting space right now. And I see that JavaScript is going, like the demand and the reach will keep on increasing. Since it's in mobile right now, a lot of mobile apps are being created in JavaScript. For example, some of the biggest apps, right? Uber and Ola, and then Instagram itself, Facebook's Messenger, right? All of them use a framework called React Native, and React Native runs on JavaScript, right? So just to give you an idea how grand this is, and what's the amount of like impact you can make if you know JavaScript really well. Okay, so yeah, moving on. All right, so now we have a brief idea about how websites work, right? Very brief idea, I understand, but now let's dig a little bit deeper, and let's try to understand what are the skill sets. So like you guys said that so front end plus back end is, his name is Jeff Atwood. Yeah, correct. Yeah, Darshan. So yeah. So now let's do one thing. Let's understand that what is the mindset and the skill set that's expected out of a full stack developer, and what is a full stack developer? Let us define it a little bit more clearly now. So full stack engineer is someone who has the capability to build an entire end-to-end product, right? So when I say a product, it includes everything, right? So from design to front end to back end to distributing it to scaling it to having the architecture of that system, right? Think of it like a system, just like a car. The car example was great over here. So car is not just paint and body and behavior. Car has an engine, right? It has a proper systematic, mechanics behind it that makes it what it is. And it allows us to, use it the way it is intended to. Similarly, a website or a web application these days. So majorly we're talking about applications right now. And so web applications are quite complex these days, if you look at it. It's not just a static HTML, CSS, or JavaScript that we were looking, like a few minutes back. And the entire system is what a full stack engineer is capable of building. And that's what more or less defines, what a full stack engineer is supposed to do and what's expected out of him. And to begin with, to start your journey, the first thing you will need is an editor or coming to that. So what you need, to write JavaScript is an editor, is a text editor or an IDE. So what's the difference? So IDE is a integrated development environment, and text and editors will allow you to modify and write code. So both have a similar goal objective, is to build the software, but an IDE you can imagine is a more advanced and comes with more features and is a complete package. It allows you to run a lot of multiple things, and an editor is more or less just allows you to write the code. It's a simplified version of it. Now I have a few editors in front of you. So so there is VSCode, right? The most popular editor in like full stack engineers use, and a lot of other engineers use, is a very popular editor called VSCode. And then we have WebStorm and Bracket and Atom here, and there are others like Sublime Text, and there are many more. There is no specific editor that I can recommend. My personal choice is, of course, VS Code. I've been using it from the beginning, right? And it's amazing. It comes with a great community support. So this is just to write code. That's all it is. I mean, you guys are free to use whatever you want. And Anil, what you're asking, difference between VS Code and Visual Studio. The difference is exactly what I said. Visual Studio is a IDE, and Visual Studio Code is an editor from the same company, Microsoft, right? Both are open source. And I guess Visual Studio, this comes with a paid package also. It will give you a couple of more features to it. But that's about it. Like this is all about writing code, and wherever you are comfortable with, you should pick that. My choice is VS Code because it's really cool and it comes with a lot of extensions, and it gives a really nice developer experience. But again, you guys are free to choose whatever you want. This is important because this will become your like window to write your application or your software. So there is always this relationship that the developer has with its editor. It's quite personal, and it should be that way. VS Code is lightweight and free, correct? Of course. I mean, I love VS Code, right? You guys, Darshan, Atom also is really cool. I mean, Atom is also liked by a lot of people, I can see. But yeah, just stick to one, and we can like, it doesn't really matter actually, whatever you're comfortable with. There is also this age-old debate about Vim and editors, right? So anybody here knows about Vim? So the Unix community is, like split into this really meaningless debate on like Vim is better and the best editor and all that. But if you ask me, it really doesn't matter. I've been using VS Code throughout my, like development journey, and it's amazing. And it's great. Vim versus Atom. Yeah, right. Yeah, see, again, doesn't matter, right? So choose whatever you like, and then yeah, that's about it. Okay, now coming to the CLI, right? Command line interface. This is the next tool that you need, absolutely mandatory tool, because whatever you coding you do, right? You will be needing to run your program, and running scripts and whatnot, right? So there are a lot of different kinds of, I would say, command line tools, interfaces. For Windows, you have our command prompt, right? If you remember, if you're old enough to remember MS-DOS, right? There was something called DOS in Windows XP, and like the previous versions. I hope I'm not going too back in the past. Yeah, so command prompt is there. PowerShell is there, right? In Windows, if you're a Windows user. If you're a Linux user, then you have ZSH, Bash is there, right? Git Bash is also there. In Mac, we have the terminal. So more or less, these are the, I like, yeah, Git Bash is awesome. Git Bash is awesome location. I mean, in fact, my favorite is ZSH. If you guys have used it, I don't know, but ZSH is really cool also. Mhm. Yeah, so again, like this is again just a choice, just like the editor. You choose one and maybe learn the commands in it and stick to it, right? And so for me, I've been using ZSH for a long time, and it works the same more or less. And the commands also, like it will vary from Windows to Mac, but then it's like once you learn it, and it will stick with you. So again, this is a choice of choosing your CLI. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Vikas, let's move on. Right. So now coming to more, like the real meat of the master class is the roadmap, right? So when we say JavaScript, now this is what I have found really beneficial, is that before diving in and trying to learn every other, because there are thousands of things to learn actually. The problem is not that the information is missing. In fact, there is a lot of information out there on the web, and if you Google about it, there are like hundreds and hundreds of different tools, different frameworks, libraries. And when you are talking about front end, we are just talking about front end, right? Not even the entire stack. So what's very important is for you to realize that you won't be able to learn everything, right? Nobody can. That's just impossible. So the smart thing to do here is to choose what's the bare minimum that you need to cover, that you must know as a full stack developer, and then on top of that you can have optional skills you can keep adding as you go along, right? So the main takeaway, the learning from this should be, you should have your set of like tools, and the things that you choose to learn when it comes to front end or when it comes to back end or DevOps, and focus on them and try mastering them. It is often said to have the best thing to have is a T-shaped skill set, right? So T-shaped skill set, what does it mean? So you should be really, how a T looks. It has a flat base, and then it has a long, this thing, stand to it. So what it means is you should know a little bit of, more or less, a part of the ecosystem. You should be familiar with the ecosystem, but then you should be really good at one or two skills, right? So on the same context, coming to the front end roadmap. So as we started, right, you should really have a very good understanding of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The fundamentals is very, very important, because that will be your foundation. And so little bit going deeper into each one of these topics. So HTML, right? What is there to learn? If you ask, there's a lot actually. And you'll be surprised, because there are many ways to write HTML code. You can write semantic HTML code. So after HTML5, there is something called semantic HTML5. So what does semantic HTML5 mean, right? It basically means that what you write should be readable. And why readable? Because there is something called SEO, if you guys know about it, heard of it. So what Google does, it ranks your website, right, on the Google search engine. And that's a pretty big deal, actually, when you are publishing a website that you are intending for users to discover. You want it to be ranking on the first page itself. Right. So do you guys have even like a faint idea of search engine optimization, like what it means? And so I'll just tell you. So search engine optimization basically means that your website should be ranking or should be coming or should be appearing to the users on the first page based on what they are searching. So these are called keywords, right? And so keywords are basically words or part of words or phrases that people search on the Google search engine, and then what they're optimizing your code and content for search engines. Correct? Yeah, I think you more or less have an idea on this, right? So because of that, due to that, the search engine's algorithm, how it works, we need to write really meaningful HTML. And what I mean by it is there are multiple ways of writing the same HTML, right? And I guess, yeah, Vikas, sure. Like just trying to, like get a brief idea of this, and then yeah. So there is something called BEM methodology in HTML that we can use, and there are other things like that. And CSS, again, it's a huge subject. And in CSS, we have things like SAS preprocessors, right? There are two kinds of preprocessors. One is a SAS and less. These are used to write CSS in a much better way. As you can see in the frameworks, there are many CSS frameworks like Bootstrap, Material UI, Tailwind, right? And Semantic and Chakra UI. The list goes on. So the point is to pick one and to stick with it. You can pick any one of it. So one of the popular ones is Tailwind right now. Tailwind is awesome, Ashif. If you ask me, Tailwind is really good. It reduces, your prototyping time by quite a bit. And yeah, Tailwind and MUI, correct. So, right. So, and then the JavaScript frameworks, right? Let's just, like get a brief idea of it, because if we, dig deeper into each, every single topic might get into a one masterclass level long. I understand, because these are, like in itself, they have a lot to discover. So frameworks, right? So you have Angular, Vue, React, and there is a lot. There's a lot more framework than just these. But again, like React is one of the most popular ones, and my personal choice has been React because of its benefits. We'll come to that in a bit. And then for testing, you have Jest, Mocha. There are a lot of frameworks to do unit testing. So unit testing is basically to, like have test cases written for what you're trying to achieve, even in front end, right? And then for version control, we have Git. So Git and GitHub, you might have heard of it. This is a repository kind of repository management system and a version control system. It's a VCS, and it's a really good one at that. It keeps your code, it stores your code, it helps you version your code, and more, a lot more. Again, so we can't go into the detail of it, but for now, just think of it like a place to, like store your code. Package manager, NPM. So this allows you to, like have your dependencies up there, to store your dependencies and use it. Asif, great question. We'll come to that in a bit. So yeah. So more or less, basically the front-end developer roadmap again depends on selecting your specific tools. I'll give you a shortcut of the tools that I would use probably. So major thing is React and its framework and its ecosystem is really cool. And for deployment, you can have GitHub. Then there is Circle CI is there, and Heroku, and AWS is there, of course, right? More on these, further. We'll take few questions up in our Q&A section also. Why not Vercel? Vercel is, yeah, I mean, it's a choice, right, Lokesh and Asif? This is a choice. So, correct. There is no one framework better than other. If that's what you're asking, that which is the best framework, There are bad ones and then there are choices. So yeah, moving on, Vikas. Correct. So like I said, so React is really popular and it has some unique advantages over its competitors. Like the major thing is the developer experience, right? When you talk of React, you are basically like, so there is a user experience which you guys might know already. So when you use an app, how there is an experience of that app, and you want to always have a smoother, a lightweight experience. Similarly, developers, us engineers, when we code, we also have an experience while coding, right? If you are stuck at something you want to implement and it's really hard for you to figure out the solution, you want some support. And that is the place where the community comes to help you, really. So, and also the documentation of the website, right? Both matters a lot, because the documentation, how easy it is to read, will directly impact how fast and how quick you can revert and fix your bug and move forward. Also the developer community, right? So when you have a great community, so needless to say, you guys already know, because I mean, we all of us are social beings, and a community is the best thing when you need help, right, with something. And React really excels in that. React community is awesome. It's really very active. It's growing by a very big. It's the biggest location actually. It's the largest community right now, front end, developers and engineers. Useful developer tool set, SEO friendly. So there are frameworks built on top of React, like Next.js, which allows you static site generation. And these are right now sounding like jargon, but like there are few downsides of a single page application also. We won't go into detail of that. It's not a scope of the discussion, but just for now, just know that Next.js is like it has solved the problems that existed with React, and it's a better version of it for a specific use case again. So you would use Next.js to build your blog website, or something that's going out to the general public, right? To your objective is to reach as many people as you want. You will be using Next.js. But when you're creating a software like Facebook, or let's say Instagram, or I mean something that's more complex, or a SaaS product, or a B2B product, let's say, you would be using React. Because then SEO is not your goal, right? So you'll be using React again. These individual topics, we can pick a few of them in the Q&A section. So yeah, so that's a short note on React. Moving forward, because uh, correct. So having talked about all these topics, you guys might understand, have a grasp of how vast the front end engineering itself is. But then that's just like the tip of the iceberg, right? Like you can see on the picture. So what the user sees is the front end. So you're asking Angular or React, which one is easy to learn? Easy to learn is React, because again, React is a library, Angular is a framework, and the learning curve of React is way more gentler than Angular. And if you ask me personally, the experience also is better. So it's if you're starting out, 100% my suggestion would be React. Just go with it, you would love it. But then before jumping on, you should have a good understanding of this thing, JavaScript itself, right? Your foundation. Cool. So this picture that you see on in front of you, the point of this is to depict that front end, no matter how vast it is, just to the tip of the iceberg, and there is a lot more that's going behind the scenes. So the users only are able to see the UI, right? Yeah. So, but then there is a lot more to application. And so it's very important as well as a full stack engineer to understand the back end of a software also. Moving on, Vikas, let's dive deeper into this. Right. So there are a lot of languages, again, you can pick to choose to build your backend. But like I said, guys, so like in the start of this, like this thing, we talked about how powerful JavaScript can be, right? So when you already know JavaScript as a front-end engineer, why do you want to pick something else other than Node.js? So Node.js is basically JavaScript running on the server, right? It's your choice again, but the smarter choice would be to go with something that you already know about. Yeah, correct. And then so the backend consists of two major aspects of it. One is the storage, that's the database, and the other is the server, right? The server side application. So server side application, we need to again, like if you ask me, we don't need to learn a second language. We can simply go with JavaScript because JavaScript runs on server side. There are JavaScript, frameworks. I wouldn't call them frameworks. These are basically JavaScript runtimes. Runtime is a better word to describe them. And correct. So these will allow you to write JavaScript on your server, right? There is Node.js. There is one that is not mentioned here. This is called Dino. So Dino.js is one more really popular, like this thing coming up. And the Node and Dino are basically founded by the same guy called Ryan Dahl. So this is founder is the same guy. So he built Node first and now he's making Dino. So there are a couple of more, but by far Node is the most popular, right? And it's most stable. And it will provide you an LTS also, long-term support also, right? Again, community, right? Huge community. So legacy code, right? And less chances of writing buggy code. So that's the main reason of going and diverting towards Node.js. And then the second layer, right? The database. So we have again two choices, SQL and NoSQL. So SQL structured query language, right? You guys have already heard of what SQL is. And NoSQL is just another approach towards storing data. So and it uses a JSON-like format. So again, if you ask what JSON is basically just currently in more demand backend technology, Node.java or Python. So more demand in that sense, lot of projects run on Java and lot more on Node. So a few that's run on Node, I can tell you right away. Netflix has a Node.js backend, right? And Netflix is one of the largest streaming platforms on the planet. And like huge, like Airbnb uses Node as well on the backend. Correct. Right. Okay, more on that later. I guess let's move on. So why choose Node.js? We already talked about this. So running JavaScript on server side rather than just in web browsers. Ability to handle a lot of concurrent connections. What that basically means is you can have a lot more, like users, traffic coming into it at the same time. Is great at handling asynchronous tasks. Asynchronous means running things on parallel. That's the simplest way to define it. And it's great in building real-time chat applications, multiplayer games, and like streaming applications like Netflix, right? Airbnb, you get the idea. So yeah, so Node.js is the tech language that I would recommend you guys to like learn first, because anyhow you're learning JavaScript. So it makes a lot more sense to use that same understanding and knowledge of JavaScript and be able to write servers with it. So that's the reason. And that doesn't really mean that Python is bad or Java is bad. It's just that it's a convenient way to move forward. Cool. Moving on, Vikas. Correct. So Node itself is quite a low level library. I mean, it allows you to run JavaScript, but then it lacks in giving you the benefits, like the things that you will be needing to write a server. For example, you will need to have routing. You will need to be handling the requests that's coming from the front end. So again, correct. So again, Lokesh, Django and Flask, these are Python frameworks. And like I said, so it's great if you want to learn a new language, but best approach would be to stick with JavaScript initially to complete that full circle, and then you pick it up. it's always great to know more than one language, right? There is no harm in it. And it's not like that Django is better than Node or an Express or something like that. It all depends on how you write the code. That's all. Any node alternative you want to recommend? Yeah, I just told you there is something called deno.js, D-E-N-O. I'll just write it down for you. You can check that out. Again, it runs JavaScript. My point was to, okay. Yeah. My point is to just stress on the fact that since you were learning JavaScript, learning Node will be really easy for you. That's all. Yeah. So moving on, I guess on the data layer, I already spoke about this SQL and NoSQL. Now the question arises, which one to use? And that depends on the problem you're solving. So if you want to have a service like Twitter, right, where you will be reading more than posting. So there is a read heavy system. Like you are trying to retrieve and read more data than you are actually creating data. So in such cases, a NoSQL database makes a lot more sense because NoSQL databases they don't have any structure. So in the word itself, SQL, it's called structured query language, right? And so NoSQL doesn't have that structure. It's just JSON, and think of it like a large warehouse of data where you can dump a lot of data, and your need is to store a lot of data that can scale, and you want to read that data in a fast way. So NoSQL really excels in that domain, and SQL has its own different advantages. There is a lot of relationship between the data. You'd always want to structure it in that way so that retrieving the data becomes easier and quicker for you. And there, of course, the community support for SQL is far better than NoSQL, because NoSQL is a new kid in the town. Like it's relatively much younger as a technology. MongoDB is one of the popular NoSQL databases. And for SQL, you have Postgres, and then you have MySQL, you have a lot more options. So a bit on this, and then you just choose again. This is a choice. This is a choice. And the choice you make, again, if you choose MongoDB, it really works like a charm with Express and Node and React on the front, right? So you have heard of the Mon stack. So the M in the Mon stack stands for Mongo. But again, like I said, it's a choice based on what you are solving and what are the trade-offs. You will select your specific database based on the problem you're solving. Is MongoDB necessary for full stack developer? Again, Nida, so basically this depends on what the DB you're choosing. You can choose SQL as well. But if your question is like, do I need to learn database management? Of course you do, because if you're going to be a full stack engineer and you're working with the server, you need to be interacting with data. So storing data, retrieving data, these are absolute, you cannot avoid this, right? Every single application will need you to store data. So you will need to have a database of your choice. And MongoDB will be easier for you if that's what you're asking. The learning curve is relatively, gentler on MongoDB side if you're working with JavaScript, because it falls in that stack. Right. Moving on, because correct. So now I think we have a rough idea about the technologies and tools we discussed that we can explore to become a full stack engineer. Apart from all this, now let's shift your mindset a little bit on the system design aspects. So when we're talking about system, now we are thinking on a little bit of a higher level, right? So what is high and low? I'll tell you in brief. So when I say low level, we are delving with tools. We are actually going and thinking about how to solve a problem. So when I say high level, you're basically thinking from a bird's eye view. You're trying to look at the system as a whole, right? So what is scaling? All right. So think of it like that let's say you're running a business, okay, and you want to build a software that just sums to a number. It's a hypothetical story, okay, and you have written the code for it. Okay, you have written the code that will sum two numbers for you and give you the output. Now this code is sitting in your computer, right? It's not available to me or somebody else. Now you want to make this available to the whole world. Only then you can be able to make money out of it, right? So to do that, you connect your computer to the internet and everybody can access it. Straightforward, no issues up till now. But only let's say 10 people are using your code, till then your computer will suffice. What if 1 million people suddenly drops in and wants to use your code? What will you do? It will be a lot of traffic for you to manage, right? So then you're left with two choices. First, one thing you can do is, of course, like have a bigger computer to solve the problem, like pour in money and get a much larger computer which has more RAM, more CPU, more computing power, and you solve the problem that way. But then there is a limit to that. I mean, right? You cannot have an infinitely large computer to solve every demand for that. So then what you can do, you can add more computers. So adding more computers is called horizontal scaling. And then getting a bigger computer is called vertical scaling. And like you guessed, both of these techniques are used in the industry to scale. And by scaling, what I mean is to handle more user requests. That's all. More people trying to use your software is a problem, and you're solving it with adding more computers and improving the individual computers, right? So combination of both, a PNC of both are used in the industry, and both has some nuances that you need to handle. More on that, I mean, this is again a vast topic. I just wanted to touch a little bit on it. Right. So, correct. So now you have the code built and you want to sell, right? You want to deploy it. And so then comes DevOps. DevOps again, developer operations is again a high level concept, and it encompasses a lot of things. But today, for the scope of this discussion, we'll be focusing majorly on deployment, maintenance, and then some services that we can use, right? So today we have a vast array of cloud computing services from Azure to GCP. Google has their own. Amazon has their own AWS, which is one of the most popular, like cloud services. And today I'm just trying to show you certain services that you see on the screen right now. So once your code is with you, in the previous slide, we saw there is an issue of scaling it. And I hope you guys understood like what scaling is on at least top level, so that I can at least tell you about this. I mean, can you guys say yes if you have understood what scaling is, like on at least on a brief level, and why do we need to scale? Cool. Guys, if you haven't, then you can just say no also. Like we can take it up on Q&A as well. Okay. Okay, cool. So I'll just briefly tell you about the deployment process. So either we build the infrastructure on our own. To do that, these computers we were talking about, right? We either need to buy them and set up a data center of our own, which is a really expensive thing to do. And hence these providers, these cloud providers like AWS, they give us infrastructure as a service. Okay, so infrastructure as a service includes the entire ecosystem that needs to scale your system presently. So let's say tomorrow from 100, your user base increased from 100 to 1000. So AWS allows us, it has a service that allows us to automatically add those machines, right? Instead of us going to the shop and buying a new machine and coming and connecting it to our existing system, AWS's service will allow us to automatically add those machines as the traffic increases. AWS will automatically on parallel keep adding systems to keep your software available to your users. Correct. And a lot more, right? Again, this is a huge subject in itself. There is a role called DevOps engineer, right? And there's a lot to discover here. But for today, just understand DevOps deals with deploying your software and also solving the problem of scaling, maintaining, all that stuff. Okay, so because I think let's talk a little bit about why full stack developers are in demand. So again, management skills, you would know the entire life cycle of a product. You will be the one-stop solution for people to consult if it's even if it's back end or front end. Cost effective for companies rather than hiring 3 engineers. Like they get the job done with 1 engineer. Hence, there's a lot of demand for someone who can solve all these problems, and then he's just one guy, right? Faster development and higher, faster bug resolution, adaptability, and also they can work across teams, right? And it's really easy to scale a business that uses developers who have knowledge of one stack or JavaScript, right? It's one of the best choices of startups these days, and companies are really looking forward to have hire individuals who has all these skills, right? So that is like gradually becoming a standard expectation in the industry. Okay, moving on. Yeah, job markets are increasingly in demand. You will have a competitive edge over others if you know all these things instead of just focusing on one. And I mean that's obvious, right? And they're more versatile and valuable to any development team. So yeah, these are some of the figures. I mean, of 2023 of the salary that a full stack engineer gets. So in India, you can see it's the average base salary for fresher is 6,23,000 a year. But let me assure you, this is this year's salary, right? And the median, this is just the average. So it includes companies like TCS, Infosys also. But if you look at product-based companies, even for a fresher, the salaries, what I have seen from my personal experience, can range from 10, 12 to up to 20, even for a fresher, I'm saying. Because of course, the amount of skill set that they come with, right? A full stack engineer is able to develop a product from end to end. So the demand is really high. And the rest of the countries also, you can see, like in US, it's 100,000 US dollars, right? So that's about a crore, right? And of course, there is pay parity, but these are all fresher salaries. And there is a lot of demand. And Yasir, yeah, do you think recession won't affect full stack developers? So recession is temporary, but your skills are quite permanent, right? So when you keep developing and upskilling yourself, you will always be relevant to the industry. And recession is, again, like I said, is temporary. So looking at a 10-year down the line roadmap. So when you enter into a profession or you get yourself skilled, then you always think about 5 years or 6 years down the line, not like the current year. And I can vouch for this, that the demand is only going to increase, right? There's going to be more companies who will be needing to build software, and for that they will be needing full stack engineers. So the demand is not going down anytime soon. At least for the next decade, be assured that the demand is only going to increase, and at a near exponential rate as well. Yeah. All right, Vikas, I think over to you. So guys, I hope you have got a rough idea of like what all tools you need to master and the mindset that you need to have. So Vikas, I guess we can have the quiz.
All right, guys. So thank you, Abhinav. So I think this was really wonderful. So before we move ahead, guys, so we'll have a really interesting quiz, and I'm just going to share the screen. So meanwhile, what you guys can do, just open your phones. So open your Chrome browser, and I'm just going to share the quiz. So, and yeah. So just take out your phones, guys. Open your mobile browser and go to kahoot.it, right? So you can search kahoot.it on your mobile browser.
Excuse me. Hi. Before filling on the quiz, can you guys fill on the feedback form before?
Right. So yeah, just fill out the form, guys, and just do that before you sort of join the Kahoot quiz. And please make sure that you are entering your name properly, because we are going to give you goodies who are going to be in the podium. So let's make sure that, and we'll wait for 2 minutes. Just go ahead and please fill out the form so that we can get your feedback and we can keep on improving in future, right? So, right. Right. So, hopefully you guys have filled out the form. If you haven't, yeah, the link is in the chat. So yeah, please, fill this out, and then please go ahead to the kahoot.it on your browser. Enter the game pin, enter your proper name. So don't write any name, else we'll not be able to give you goodies even if you come in the podium, right? So yeah. And people who are already part of the AlmaBetter course, guys, I think you can take this quiz as in for interest, right? So we'll be giving goodies for the new folks who want to break into this career, who want to learn about the field. So, but I think I would really appreciate participation from everyone who have joined in this session. So yeah, all right. All right, so how many? So 23. So guys, I think there, more people. So please join Kahoot, guys. So what you need to do, open your phone, go to kahoot.it and enter the game pin, enter your name as your nickname, and you will be through. All right. So we'll just start this Kahoot in 30 seconds. Right. So just go to kahoot.it, right? Not kahoot.com. Right. Just go to kahoot.it. You will be prompted to enter a game pin, enter your name, and then you will be joining here, right? All right. So cool, guys. So I think I'll just wait a few more seconds and then we'll begin, right? So I would expect everyone to participate in this session, guys. This is going to be really interesting, and yeah. All right. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna start the quiz now. So the quiz, a Kahoot from AlmaBetter, right? So, this masterclass was on full stack developer roadmap. So let's see what have you learned so far. So the first question is, what is the purpose of a database in a full stack web application? To handle server side logic, to store and retrieve data for the application, to handle user authentication and authorization, to handle client side rendering. All right. So on your phone, you're going to see 4 different colors. So tap on the corresponding color on which you're seeing the right answer, right? As simple as that. So 4 seconds to go, guys. Hurry up if you haven't yet answered. So let's see. So most of you got it correct. Yet few of you got it wrong. But the answer will be to store and retrieve data for the application. That's the primary purpose of your database. All right. So let's move ahead, guys. So let's see who is in the leaderboard. So Adi is in the leaderboard. Awesome. So Pratham is at second, and Nida is at third. So let's see how it goes. So you guys will get opportunity to do some turnaround. So what is the most popular language for building full stack web apps? Python, Ruby, JavaScript, PHP, right? And this question could be as simple as it can get. So you guys have been probably hearing about this throughout the session. So it's a no-brainer at all. 10 seconds, guys. Just quickly punch in your answers. And right, so JavaScript is the correct answer. There are certain web apps that you can actually build in Python as well, but JavaScript is the most popular language for building web apps, right? So just keep that in mind. So, all right, so Pratham is at the top, Adi is at second, Gaurav is at third. All right, guys, let's keep doing the hard work. So, what is the most popular JavaScript framework for building user interfaces, or in short, we call that UI, right? So, what is the popular framework? And your options are Ember, React, Vue, Angular, right? I'm talking about the most popular framework for building user interfaces, guys, right? And Abhinav has highlighted so much about this particular framework. So I'm not expecting any wrong answer here, guys. So please put in your brain, tap in the corresponding correct color. All right, so most of you got it correct. So it's React, undoubtedly. All right, let's move on to the next question. So this is the last question of this quiz, guys. So what is the role of a web API in full stack development, right? Probably you might not have heard of API, but can you take a guess? To handle client-side rendering, to handle user authentication and authorization, to handle server-side logic, to provide a way for front-end and back-end of application to communicate, right? So we talked about an analogy, right, of a restaurant, right? So think of a waiter as an API. So what does the waiter do, right? So your answer would be clear, probably. Yeah, so most of you got it correct. So of course, there are different purpose for an API, but for a web API specifically, it's a medium to more or less send data from your server to the client side, or maybe send data from client to server, right? So in a way, the API is essentially the communication medium between your front end and back end. All right. So, all right. So let's see who are in the podium. So at third, we have Gaurav. So awesome. At second, right? And at second, we have Pratham. And first, let's see. So we have Adi. So congratulations, guys. And let's see who are in the runners up. So Zeel and Arpit. So congratulations, guys, for topping the quiz. So you can expect a goodie in your mailbox. So which will be giving out over this weekend. All right. So thank you for participating in this quiz. So now the next thing, guys, what I want to do is basically give you a walkthrough of the AlmaBetter platform and how you can use it to the fullest, and how you can actually become a full stack developer with us, right? So overall, if you know already about AlmaBetter, right? So we are a community first learning platform where students are learning in groups, right? So they are doing projects and teams. They're networking with a lot of community peers. They're networking with a lot of coaches, and they're getting ready for jobs through a lot of mock interviews through their mentors or coaches or even alumni, right? So this is what we are, right? And the path to your success is pretty straightforward. You just need to sign up and enroll, right? That's the step one. The step two is you start your learning journey and get certified. Simple, as in complete your milestones. Your step three is sign your ISA and get your course fee refunded. And the step four is basically start your Almex, where we build your holistic skills apart from your technical skills, which you're already doing in your learning track, right? So we'll be helping you build your portfolio, your GitHub profile, your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your Medium, or probably your own personal website. And then you'll be going through tons of mock interviews, at least 40-50 mock interviews through a lot of coaches on different topics, so that you can master how you can crack those interviews. And then once that happens, we are also providing a lot of communications training, because we feel that for a student to crack interviews, it's not only necessary that you are good at your technical skill set, but communicating your thought process, right? Communicating a concept, that becomes also a priority, and that's something that you shouldn't ignore, right? It might not be very relevant, but you shouldn't leave that ignored, right? And once that happens, we share your profiles with our hiring partners, and accordingly your interviews are scheduled, right? And the last step, of course, you land your dream job, and we are promising a minimum job of a 5 LPA. Despite that, the median salary that even Abhinav was talking about, it will be above 6-7, right? So a lot of people who are even starting out as a fresher, they are getting 10-12 LPA as a developer. In fact, we have hired people in our team, and we are paying those people that much, right? So you know that these guys are in total demand, and this is a great career opportunity for you guys to build. So and you already know what you need to learn, as in how the roadmap should be. Overall, you're going to do multiple learning activities in our platform. You're going to do live lectures. You're going to go through a lot of available pre-recorded content as well. You're going to do a lot of lab experiments. You're going to do a lot of projects and assignments. And so we also have built a lot of in-house ID, where you don't even need to install anything. You can simply just go and run your first piece of code, right? As simple as that. You'll be doing a lot of group discussions, which we are encouraging in our community, because we know that we are not alone in your journey. There are so many people who are going through the same phase, and it's better that you guys sort of communicate with each other, discuss, and learn from each other, right? So that's why we are really at the core. The community is really at the core of our learning pedagogy. We'll be providing you one-on-one mentorship with a lot of coaches, a lot of guest lectures like this masterclass and similar events. A lot of community events will be organizing, and you'll be required to do a lot of capstone projects, competency challenges, which are like milestones you'll need to complete to get into AlmaX, right? So, and we have more than 500 plus companies hiring from us, and these are like some of the top companies. So we are partnering with a lot of top product companies like Ola is there, Cred is there, Swiggy is there. We're also partnering with a lot of lesser services company, which actually, let's say, they also build software or products for other big enterprises, right? So this is what we have, and these are the companies where you can expect yourself to get placed. And these are some of the success stories. And our first batch of software or full stack web development, they are in their placement phase. So you'll soon be hearing certain stories of their success. So please watch out for that. Meanwhile, what I can show you guys is the platform. So if you go to almabetter.com, you just click on sign in. You'll come to this grow.almabetter.com, which is where your learning resources and everything will be there, right? So you can see home page where, let's say, you see your course. So this is your course more or less, right? And you can see your modules. And so in our first module is focused on JavaScript, as Abhinav was also saying. Front end is focused on equipping you with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript along with React as well, right? You're going to do a capstone project as well. And these projects are pretty interesting. I'll show you in just a while. And when in the backend module, you're going to learn about databases. You're going to learn about non-relational databases. In fact, you're going to learn about writing Node APIs. You're going to learn about the Express ecosystem. You're going to learn about how to, let's say, use APIs to move data from here and there, right? So there will be a complete project as well. And in the fourth module, we are focusing on making you learn, let's say, certain fundamentals of or certain primitive data structures, right? Which are like very important. And then there are certain algorithms which are like pretty common out there, like your sorting algorithms, search algorithms, and all. And so you can go ahead and explore these resources on your own, and you can get all the details you want, right? So we are going to teach you linked list, right? Their strengths as well, right? So there's so many things and we don't want to teach you everything, right? Because data structures is also in itself a vast field. So you need to just focus on the fundamentals, and then of course once you master these, you can always jump on to learning advanced concepts, right? So probably in AlmaX we'll be having certain lessons where you learn, let's say, dynamic programming or maybe graph theory, but will not mandate it, at least in the learning track. because we don't want you guys to, let's say, lose your focus. First, stick to the fundamentals and then build your skill set on top of it, right? And as of now, we also have this blockchain module. So in future, we are going to provide you guys with certain electives. So you can choose, let's say, advanced front end, where you can really specialize in front end, or you can choose blockchain, or probably you can also specialize in back end, where we'll be focusing a lot on system design and the advanced DSA concepts, right? So this is what is overall the curriculum going to be, and we're trying to make your learning really engaging. So let's see how the lesson looks like. So this is the first activity, which is your read, and it has everything. So you can simply do you can just copy paste your piece of code, and you can run it here itself, right? So let's say I'm so this is already there. Let me just go ahead and run this piece of code, and you'll see the output, right? So you don't even need to install anything, at least to get started. You can simply go ahead and start writing code. And we are currently providing support for all these languages. Like there's also Java, which is for data structures, which we are encouraging you guys to learn. Probably it's not even mandatory, but it's a useful skill set. Also, there's a support for React, right? And so this is where you can learn, you can copy paste the code, you can see the input. And so next is you can see the video as well. So this is from our previous classes. So this can serve as, let's say, a class prep material, so that you can just have a look and then attend the live classes, right? And then there are coding assessments, where, let's say, each lesson would have 3 to 4 problems, and these are auto evaluated. So once you submit your piece of code, you're going to get auto evaluated, and you're going to see your marks here, right? So if you solve all of them, so you'll see solved 4 out of 4. All right. So this is very important. And let's say you can always move from activity to activity like this. So you can take the quiz, like in the previous activity, you can take this quiz. So a lot of assessment and learning activities that we have added in the program. There are a lot of discussion forums, so you can go there. You can also submit the feedback. Let's say if you want something to be improved, or there's some error, you can highlight, and our team will fix that as soon as possible, right? And if you look at, let's say, even the front end, right, where so if you move to React, so this is how we are more or less providing support, right? So you can simply write your CSS code, your HTML code, your JavaScript code, and everything. You can see the output here itself, right? So you don't need to do anything at all. We are trying to make a really modern learning platform for coding focused education, right? So that's why we have put a lot of focus on doing those, and then you can do a lot of interactions with it. So you can have a lot of space for writing your piece of code, right? You can go to dark, let's say, if you want to write code in dark mode, and you can have, let's say, larger font sizes and all, right? So these are like basic controls. And also one more thing, so from here as well, you can navigate to any chapter within the module, right? So let's say you are at DOM, but you can move to advanced React directly from here, right? So this is there in terms of learning. There are a lot of free courses, and we are augmenting these and improving them day by day. You'll see a lot of independent practice problems that you can do. So let's say you learned a lesson, but you wanted to do some more practice. So we have a really huge practice bank, and we'll be consolidating this. So think of this like as a lead code platform, and you can practice independently, and your code will be auto evaluated. You can filter on certain modules and skills. And then we have a lot of coding assessments, which are in a way bundled coding problems. So you can attempt 5 problems at once, and then see how you're doing, right? And you can see your ongoing assessment completed and everything here. And similarly, you have all your quiz assessments. Now, coming back to the most important thing in your curriculum is your projects, because projects are what you're going to add in your resume. And that is your essentially, that is what you're going to showcase to your interviewer or recruiter, right? So a lot of projects we have added. So on front end, we have resume builder, quiz platform. So you can find the details of the projects here. We have also added a lot of Figma files, right? As in how a particular screen would look like, right? So you can write code and develop these screens for your front end project, right? And there are a lot of final check. So there's a checklist that you need to keep in mind to submit the project. And in the career, once you are into the program, you'll be seeing your eligibility here, as in what kind of milestones you have completed, which are required for AlmaX, right? So everything will be here, and once you are into AlmaX, you will be seeing AlmaX curriculum as well in depth. All right. So that is there. We have a support for mentorship. So let's say in the beginning, you want to seek a guidance from an expert mentor. So you can simply go ahead and book now, and your session will be scheduled within 24 or 48 hours, right? So we have more than 500 coaches working with us as mentors, instructors. They're resolving doubts on discussion forum, right? They are evaluating your capstone project. So these mentors are essentially pillars of our learning outcomes. So if you want to reach out to them, so you can book a session and then get your doubt cleared, right? If you also want to, let's say, get yourself assessed on certain concepts, you can actually go ahead and book mock interviews too, right? So there are two types of sessions overall. One is your objective and other is subjective. So this is your subjective and this is your mock interviews, your objective, right? There's a help desk as well. So if you have any doubt, you can go to support.almabetter.com, or probably you can see this widget. You can search for any particular problem, or you can report a problem, right? So we really focus on these four dimensions in a very healthy way. So one is, of course, the content, right? The content that you are learning through. So we are really focused on making that content really world class and standard. Next is we are really focused on building our platform so that you can have a really smooth learning experience and you can get a job and then have a really good experience with us. The third thing is your support, which is support from your AlmaBetter team, support from your peers, support from your coaches, right? So that is, and then we're also focused on engagement. So we would want to know what are you doing every day. So we'll be dropping you mails, your messages, and keep checking with you, as in what are you doing on day-to-day basis, so that we can motivate you and push you and you complete your course in the stipulated timeline, right? There's also a community bit. And if you guys haven't yet enrolled, you can see there's a community where it's a place you can discover members and interact with them. So let's say I want to connect with a member. Let's say I come from Patna, for example, right? So what I can do, I can simply search Patna here, right? And I can see all the folks who are from Patna, right? So in a way, I can connect with people who live in physical vicinity. And if they have the same goal, they would be like the best people to sort of learn with and move ahead in the program, right? And there are a lot of spaces in our community where people are having fun, because we understand that learning, especially learning for a tech career, can be pretty exhaustive or exhausting. So we have a lot of really interesting spaces where you can interact with your peers, you can share memes and have fun time overall, right? So see, overall, we are very different from how the traditional college looks like, where they would want to get things done on their whims, right? So, but here we understand the needs of our student. We understand that they are already going through a lot of difficult phase in their life. They're looking to get their first job or maybe their second job. So we have a really supportive environment for our student community. And that I feel is a differentiator, which will not get at any other platform, right? So there are so many courses out there, but to make sure that you are able to understand and move through the program and eventually get a job, that's something difficult, and a lot of people are not doing. But we have a good support for community. There's good support with coaches. So leverage that and then build your network and then upskill yourself overall, right? So that's the idea. Additionally, what you guys can do, so we also have a provision of a changing cohort. So let's say I am in this cohort transform, right? And let's say I fell ill, or maybe there's something happened. So what I can do, of course, so this is my class which is happening, or let's say I can have a view of the other cohorts which are happening, and I can see that for this particular cohort, so on 28th January they're going to learn this events and CSS attributes. So let's say if you lag behind, so you can always go ahead and switch to a new cohort, right? I'm not able to show you here because these cohorts have not yet started. But let's say for data science, which is, let's say, pretty similar, I can show you, right? And you can always go ahead. So let's say I am in this cohort, which is my green tick, and I can only switch to a later cohort, as in we understand that you might have lagged behind due to your health reason, or probably there could be other time commitment issues. So probably I can go ahead and switch to cohort Jerusalem. So you can see that there's an option to change cohort, and your cohort will automatically be changed, right? So you can see that, and now my cohort is Jerusalem, right? And all the activities that I'll be seeing will be with respect to with that cohort, right? So you can see your calendar here as well. And let's say if you want to refer your friends, so you can do that. So you just need to sign up and share this referral link. And let's say if your friend wants to enroll, so they will get 1,000 off, you'll also get 1,000 off, right? And you can quickly redeem your rewards. So for example, as I have redeemed all these vouchers, and you can use these wherever you want to, right? And there's a performance which you can track, as in what's your progress in different modules with respect to your cohort and other students across learning categories, right? So this is a system, and in future we are going to come up with a lot of gamified learning design, where you're going to earn XPs on the basis of certain activity completion. So this is going to be really interesting, guys, as our platform evolves, right? So you're going to have more fun learning the subject, all right? And you can get your certificates here, right? And you guys can share the certificate, add them to LinkedIn as your credentials. So you can just simply click to add to LinkedIn, and it will get added to your LinkedIn as your credential, right? Very straightforward. And this will also give a presence in your professional network that you are learning this. And let's say probably a recruiter or a mentor can stumble upon that, and they can find it interesting, and they can reach out to you as well, right? It's very important to also build your personal brand on these important professional network like LinkedIn, right? So that's more or less. So overall, guys, if you know, our new cohort is starting on 31st, right? So if you see, so you know already cohort transform is starting on 31st. So please go ahead and enroll, and we will share a coupon code with you guys, which you can use to get certain discount. So that will be sent to you over mail. Team, if we have available, can we share that with our students now? If do we have a coupon code so that they can get some discount and enroll in our program? So all right, and additionally, guys, you'll be getting a certificate for attending this masterclass, and you'll also be getting the quiz goodies for the quiz, for at least for people who did really well. And we'll be sharing a summary of the event along with the recording, so that if you missed out on certain important aspects, you can always go back and just check for yourself. All right. So, all right. So, guys, what you can do is you can use fly30 as the coupon code. If this does not, this should work, right? And you'll be able to get 30% off. So you can use this coupon code, and I've shared in the chat. So yeah, just please do. If this does not work, our team is there, so they will reach out to you and will help you in any way whatsoever. All right. So this was it, more or less, guys, in this masterclass. So I would like to thank Abhinav for taking such a wonderful session. And I think we'll also do a simple Q&A before we sort of wrap up. So hang on. Yeah. So Abhinav, I think we can take some questions which we still have pending in the Q&A, and then we can wrap up. Yeah. So, all right. So guys, I think there was one question. So hang on, right? So there was one question. People are switching from Web2 to Web3. So using MERN stack, can we be able to develop Web3 apps or sites, right? So totally, right? So let's say if you want to even become a Web3 developer, because let's say you are fascinated by blockchain technology, the first step is to become a Web2 developer, right? you cannot know about the Web3, which is essentially a complete rewiring in the backend of the entire internet, right? Nothing is changing in the UI because my app is going to remain the same. My interface is going to remain the same. The only thing that is changing in Web3 is your backend, right? So as in the data that is being stored, that is completely changed. So complete rewiring done there. So firstly, if you want to become a good developer, focus on building your Web2 skills, as in your front end and back end skills. Once you have that, and of course we discussed about the MERN stack, you use that along with other libraries or frameworks, and that would be enough. So let's say if you want to build a Web3D app, right? So you will be writing your front end in React, HTML, and CSS only, and then for backend you can use something like Solidity, which is very similar to JavaScript, and it will be very similar to Node, in fact, right? So no difference. If you know JavaScript, you can transform any industry, either Web2 or Web3. So that's not a question at all, right? So Abhinav, do you want to also highlight anything here?
Yeah, so Pankaj is also asking React is Web 2 or Web 3. I guess React is a front end this thing, right? So it doesn't really matter. So even in Web 3 also, to build the UI, you will be using React itself. So
Right.
It's just a front end library. So you use it to create the user interface.
Right.
What differentiates the Web 3 from Web 2 probably is what Vikas just mentioned. It's called smart contracts. So decentralized apps is a concept that you will learn if you take a Web3 course of ours. And there we will talk about how, like this cool stuff is done, how smart contract works and all. That's a different ball game in altogether.
Right.
So yeah, Pankaj, React is both Web 2 and Web 3. That's your answer.
So guys, your front-end stack is going to remain the same. Even let's say, so you're learning Node already, right? Let's say in Web3, if you want to actually become a full stack Web3 developer, probably you need to learn Solidity, and there are other frameworks. So, but that's in JavaScript only, right? So you're not going to find it difficult. And when I was talking about, let's say, Web2 versus Web3, you just need to understand, guys. Let's say in Web2, my data is, let's say, being stored at, let's say, in Facebook servers. But in Web3, it's more or less across, let's say, a lot of nodes in the internet, right? So Web3 changes how your system is wired in the backend. Your front end remains the same. So you're still going to use, let's say, React to build your application, or maybe going to use the same application to interact, or same UI to interact with the application. So I hope you guys are clear there.
So because I think Darshan is saying that he is in his second year of BCA and 1 year experience of web development. Is this course good for him?
Right. So hang on. What was the name, Abhinav, again? Darshan. Right. So Darshan, I know you are a really motivated guy, and I'm really happy to see you here. So I think this course will be helpful for you. So even though our program is job focused program, but you can still learn the required skill sets with us, and interact with the community, and even be part of that going forward, right? So definitely this course will be really useful for you, Darshan, I can feel. And let's say when you are, let's say in your final year, we can help you get placed once you have completed your learning track, right? So that's not a problem, right?
So Rishabh, you're asking whether data science or DevOps, which one will be easy?
So I would rephrase, let's say if you're confused about data science or web development, it's as simple as that. If you're fascinated with data and with business, and you want to maybe do a lot of contribution in terms of strategy, I feel data science would be a good option for you. But let's say if you are really fascinated about building products, you're fascinated about building apps, you're fascinated about building websites, then web development is the go-to domain for you, right? Right.
Can college dropouts do this program?
Definitely. So, basically, we are not putting any barrier to entry. Anyone can come and learn with us, right? The only thing that we require is your commitment to complete our curriculum, right? So let's say if you're learning with us, and if you're not completing your assignments or the required milestones, then you will not be able to get through, right? So we expect a lot of sincerity and commitment from our students. And we do not expect any, let's say, coding experience or any background whatsoever. The only thing that we expect from you is your time commitment and your curiosity to essentially learn what's required. All right.
So Harshit, if you're also from a non-tech background, that doesn't really matter. We'll be starting from scratch, right? So it doesn't matter. You can definitely, like enroll and.
Right. And any developer who is starting out, let's say at a particular point of time in their life, they're always from, let's say, a non-tech background, right? Because that's how life evolves, right? So I know a lot of you guys might have inhibitions about whether can I learn JavaScript, whether can I pick up web development. I feel that our course is really designed from the perspective of a beginner. So we have everything from scratch. So you don't need to have any preconceived notion or understanding. So you can come just with that mindset of curiosity, and you will be able to learn, right? So does English matters? Okay, yeah, probably not a lot, but at least it will matter to the extent where you would want to relay your idea, convey your idea to this person in front, right? As in, let's say if you are in an interview and you are not able to even, let's say, a concept like how, let's say, a normal bubble sort works, for example, right? So you're able to write the algorithm, that also works, but you should be at least slightly articulate where you're able to convey your idea to the interviewer or with anyone. So English matters because, we are living in a world of globalization. Everything is connected. English is, I feel, is the most prevalent language. Even if you look at the projects in software that are coming up, right? All these open source projects. So those are also more or less in English, right? So English, I feel, has now become a really basic or common language where you would want to communicate your ideas to anyone in the world, right? And it just helps, right? So it's like an added advantage where you can express your ideas. So I would say it does not matter to a great extent, but I think you should know how to communicate and articulate yourself, right? Okay, so what could be the timing? So guys, we have live classes between 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. In the evening, we have classes 4 days a week. So let's say you are a working professional and you're not able to attend a class. So your recording will be available. Let's say, so you can check out those even if you missed a class, right? Or let's say if you missed maybe classes over a week or over 2 weeks, then you can actually change your cohort and switch to the newer cohort where you can pick up your learning again, right? So that shouldn't be a problem, I think, Rishabh. Yeah. So we don't have other timing. So let's say if you want to learn, so we have all the material, and additionally, of course, we are having a lot of live classes. So if your timings do not suit, then probably it's better that you go through the pre-recorded content and the learning material and go through the assessment activities to master those concepts. Right. Cool.
Venkatesh is asking which steps I need to take as a fresher to become a web developer. So Venkatesh, we just went through the roadmap, right? So you will need to master all those tools. It will take you some time. So we have our course, right? That will take you through the journey, right? One by one. And as a fresher, you can just, like join our course, and we'll take you step by step. So with the guidance, I guess within 6 months or 7 months is good enough to have a basic understanding of being a full stack engineer.
Right.
So should be good that way.
Right. Totally. So there is a question in Q&A, guys. So what we learned in AlmaX. So as I mentioned earlier, guys, so in AlmaX, we are focusing on your holistic skill development. So we are going to help you build your portfolio, which includes your GitHub profile, your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your Medium profile, probably your own personal website, or even your YouTube profile, right? And then you're going to do a lot of mock interviews with our expert coaches. So at least 40 mock interviews in AlmaX on different small topics, so you can master those. And we are also focusing on communications training, so that will be part of the curriculum as well. And once that happens, your profile will start getting shared with our hiring partners, right? So I hope that was clear, anonymous attendee. Yeah. All right. React is Web 2 or Web 3. React is simply a front-end framework. So this is there. So can person pursue AlmaBetter full stack web development course after 12th? Definitely, right? So we have tried to really distill the concepts in a relatively straightforward way. So you can enroll in our course and start learning with us, Zion, I think. Yeah. I tried booking for mentorship, but you got no reply. So Pankaj, I think what you can do, please drop me a mail. I'll forward to the team and I'll make sure that this happens in priority. All right. So yeah, just do drop me a mail, or maybe just reach out to the team. I think you can simply mail me at vikash@almabetter.com. All right. And just mail me your concern and we'll forward your queries, right, to the team. All right. So, all right. Okay. So, Pankaj, I think for mentorship, team will help you with the required support. All right. Okay. What else do we have? So, right. All right, guys. I think so. These were more or less the questions, and I don't think there's any new question so far. So for how long AlmaX assists for placements, guys? So at least 1 year since the start of AlmaX, at least, right? So you don't have to worry about, because you'll be getting a job within the 3-4 months of your AlmaX, right? So that shouldn't be a concern, I feel, right? So I passed BTech in mechanical engineering in 2019. Will this course be helpful for me? So definitely, if you're passionate about building a career in software, or you want to build really world-class products, you want to build great apps, so I feel you can learn with us. So enroll today. There is a new cohort starting on 31st. So enroll in that cohort and learn, and also interact with a lot of peers, so that they can also help you, because I'm sure there will be certain people who are also let's say passed out relatively earlier, like 2-3 years back, and you can connect with them and then learn along, right? So right. So I would say that don't keep any inhibitions, guys, and don't be fearful, right? Be confident. And let's say if this domain seems interesting to you, if this sounds interesting at all, then only I think you should be doing this course, right? So if you're passionate about actually doing this, or maybe you can explore explore the free resources and see for yourself whether it actually fits your goal or your need, right? And then you can accordingly enroll. So we have a lot of free resources, and I showed that in the walkthrough. So please do that, and I hope this will be clear to you, right? AlmaBetter provides placement all over India. A lot of these jobs are more or less work from home, but some of the jobs are also work from city. So you might be required to relocate to maybe Bangalore, Delhi NCR, or Hyderabad, wherever that company is based out of. But we have hiring partners from all over India, right? So that's not a problem, I think. Right. So can we pick this as a career start as a fresher? Definitely, right? So there's no doubt about it, right? So our curriculum is designed from the feedback of the industry, right? So what we do, we go through a very significant survey of, let's say, 100 job description. We understand what are the skill sets which these companies are requiring. So in web development, you can see openings like front-end developer, full stack developer, back-end developer, right? And they require certain different skill sets. But overall, as a full stack developer, if you master your front-end, back-end skills, you will be more or less set, right? So definitely, I think you can pick this as a career to start with. So yeah. Anything else, Abhinav? Something that we might have
I think
missed?
because we're pretty much sorted with the questions.
All right.
Gene is asking how long AlmaX assists for placement.
Right. So that I already cleared, right? So at least a year, right? So that's not a problem. So we are there with you till you get your job, right? We're not going to leave you at all, right? We want to make sure that you get a really good high paying job so that you can have a better lifestyle and then build your life on top of it, right? So any age requirement for job placement? So see, usually what happens that these so ideally there should not be any age requirement. So let's say if you are in your first year of college and you're still studying, that might be difficult for you to pick up a job. But let's say if you are graduated, or maybe in your final year, or you are an unemployed graduate, or maybe you're a working professional, I think that should work. So something like 21 to 25, 26 age group, I think that should work, right, for placements. Right. How long does ISA time limit stand for after the course? So I think the team can explain this to you in details. To my understanding, this is at least 12 months, but the team can give you a better answer. So I can ask them to catch up with you, right? So, all right. Can you share your emails here on the chat? I'll speak to the team. All right. Okay. Okay. Zyme.north. All right. Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool, guys. I think so. This session was really interesting, and I would like to thank Abhinav first of all for taking such an interesting and engaging session. And I hope you guys were able to understand the roadmap and overall about the domain itself and what you can expect going forward. So thank you, Abhinav, so much for illuminating everyone with really deep insights. And I would like to thank again everyone who joined in this session over Zoom, YouTube, LinkedIn, or anywhere else on the internet. So I really loved talking with you guys, and I could see a lot of really curious folks who were constantly active on the chat. So that really makes up my day, right? So thank you everyone again for taking time out, and we'll be conducting more of such master classes around a lot of popular concepts so that you can have an advantage overall, right? So thank you so much, and enjoy your weekend, guys. And looking forward to seeing you guys in the new batch. So let's see. And if you face any issue whatsoever, do write to me or maybe reach out to our team. It could be regarding placement, it could be regarding admission, it could be regarding support or anything as such, right? So we'll try to help you at the earliest. So yeah, that's it. So having said that, so thank you again, and yeah, have a great day ahead, guys. All right. Bye. Take care, everyone. All right.
Bye, guys. Thank you.